who's the best quarterback in the AFC East? Is it Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Tua, or Mac Jones? Because we were debating this earlier. I feel like it's Josh Allen, but I think you like Aaron.
I think you could make a case for both. And before I get into like my spiel, how much do numbers account for an argument here? Because it feels like to me, quarterback is almost an eye test here when the numbers are so similar. Because I think the one factor where Josh Allen has over Aaron Rodgers is the fact that he's incredibly mobile.
Yes.
And we know that he's a big guy. He can take the hits, and they use him as almost a running back. That's why they don't have much of a running offense, because he is just it. He is their running back, and he's pretty damn good at it as well. But for Aaron Rodgers, there is a reason that this guy has won multiple MVPs. And even the year where nobody wanted to vote for him, people hated him so much. There was a guy that literally said, I'm not going to vote for Aaron Rodgers because I hate him as a person. But still, this is somebody who won an MVP, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
People are acting like, oh, my God, he's so old. It wasn't that long ago. And I did not watch his games last year and think, okay, the arm strength is gone.
Right.
Like, he made some bad throws, but also you could feel the tension between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And I think that is the biggest difference this year, is it feels like the tension has been lifted, and he looks younger. He looks more relaxed, and it looks like he's really enjoying the spotlight that he's getting in New York City. So I do think we're going to see a good year from Aaron Rodgers. But, like, if you told me that, like, Josh Allen's the best quarterback in that division, like, I wouldn't fight you on it either because he's also younger.
I think Josh Allen is the best in the division, and I understand the argument for Aaron Rodgers. I do worry, if you're a Bills backer, about them placing so much of the onus of that offense on Josh Allen because he's expected to throw, obviously, and run the ball. But here's my question about Aaron Rodgers, because there were some throws last year that normally he didn't make, and it could be a one-off. It's not a big deal. But I also think, do you think that Tom Brady, I think because he played until he was 45 and he defied expectations for years and years and years, that is not the norm. I feel like we expect it to be the norm now because Tom did it, but Tom's the GOAT. So I think there is a real possibility of Aaron Rodgers falling off a little bit because we're thinking, well, Tom did it, Aaron can do it. But Tom is such an anomaly that I think there is a possibility of Aaron Rodgers falling off a little bit more than we anticipate because we assume he can play until his 40s, and he can, but also the idea that he'll be just as good as the GOAT into his 40s is not necessarily true.
The fact that you can get the Rangers, the best offense in all of baseball, on the run line, plus 1.5 for minus 145, I think is an absolute bargain in this one. And plus, there is a red-hot trend with the Rangers on the run line as underdogs this year. A blistering 21-9 on the run line this year when they are not favored in games. And also, you guys know that I love playing away teams that are underdogs on the run line because if the home team is favored and they're the ones having to lay the run line, if they're only ahead by one run, you don't play the bottom of the ninth. And plus, the Padres have been terrible in this situation too. 34-42 on the run line as favorites this season. I think the Padres are overvalued here. I know that Joe Musgrove is a good pitcher, but hell, Stunning Dane Dunning has done more than his fair share of keeping up this Rangers rotation this season. 8-3 with a 3.18 ERA. So let's go with the Rangers on the run line, getting the 1.5 for minus 145.
Chelsa, keep it going. I love that pick. I'm going Yankees first 5 money line today against the Orioles minus 130. Come on. Garrett Cole taking on Grayson Rodriguez. I love the O's, but you're talking about arguably the best pitcher in baseball. And G-Rod, since being called back up from the minors, he's been okay. He's been fine. But at Camden Yards this season, his ERA is 9.11 at home. That's ridiculous. Also, Yankees get Aaron Judge back in the lineup tonight. That should help as well. Let's go Yankees first 5 money line minus 130 in Charm City.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Because they have one person. And I'm going to first mention Anthony Santander, maybe one of the more underrated players in the last 3-4 years of the big leagues. They have Gunnar Henderson, who is incredibly talented and maybe, one of the people that's anchoring that lineup. But remember back when the Giants won 3 World Series, who their captain was? Everyone's going to be like, Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt, a pitcher. No, Buster Posey. And they have their Buster Posey and Adley Rutschman, a switch-hitting catcher who's out there every day and is an absolute gem of a human being. And he's like a generational gem, same as Buster was. Like that leader who can go out and party with the boys. He can tell the boys it's time to go. And you know what? When the guys need him, he's going to get a big hit. And that's the type of guy that Adley Rutschman is. I would not bet against the Orioles winning the American League, except I really like the Rangers too, but we weren't talking about the Rangers. I'll be honest, because I have to be.
Yeah.
I think it's a great move.
Do you?
I would have traded him a long time ago, but the thing I didn't want to see the Angels do is just stay in that like mid-range where you're like, well, we're going to keep him, but we're not really going to do anything. They overpaid for the first 2 prospects that they gave up. They overpaid. They're going to have to still add more pieces. I love it. Go all in. And what's cool was Shohei showed he's going all in by going his first shutout. He's like, well, I wanted to keep the bullpen fresh for the second game. And he's like, oh, and by the way, in the second game, I'm going to hit 2 dingers. So, yeah. And I heard you guys talking before. I'm Shohei's agent, and he's going to get $580 million.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I would go full game under here. I mean, both of these pitchers are very good. And McClanahan, even though he's better at home, he's still good on the road. He has an ERA just over 3 when pitching away from Tampa. Javier does his best work in Houston. And also, these are 2 under teams. The Astros hit 53% of the time. The Rays hit the under more than 54% of the time. So I think under 8 is probably the play here. I will say just, from a macro perspective, I always get a little nervous when you're talking about playing an under when you have big bats in the lineup.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to play an under with the Braves, for example.
Oh, no.
Even if it's the right call, it's like,
but these aren't the Braves.
Right. So I feel like, and the Astros aren't full strength yet, I feel like the under is still the side here.
I think so as well, especially if you look at the bullpens. Their bullpens are all right, but I think I would rather do the first 5 and not have to go to the bullpens, because bullpens can be really volatile, especially when you're talking about teams who are not like in the top 3 of bullpens.